So while we're making apple crumble, you want to make sure we preheat the oven. So the recipe today has to go on to 180, and then our fan is on. Again, in the food room, and I know I say this all the time, but you really need to make sure your safety is covered. So it's not one person's job to check the oven. If you're cooking in pairs, it's both students' job to check the oven, and then myself and my food assistant go around the room and check the ovens as well. Looking at our ingredients for our apple crumble this morning, we're going to have 2 apples with 40 grams of butter, and I'll chop that in a moment. You're going to collect 2 tablespoons of self-raising flour, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a pinch of the cinnamon. Now, a pinch is not sticking your fingers in and getting a pinch is just getting a little bit out of the container. You need 2 tablespoons of coconut and 2 tablespoons of rolled oats. So they're our ingredients for our apple crumble. Morning everyone, welcome back to the food room. Today we're going to cook a yummy recipe. This one is apple crumble. So my filmer person is actually quite excited about getting a little apple crumble today as well. I'm going to start to collect our dry ingredients. Now we need 2 tablespoons of the self-raising flour. Now normally when we're doing our food classes, you have to be careful with your measuring of your ingredients. I need to be quite accurate. But for this one, you don't need to be that accurate because it is going to be a crumble. But you also need to make sure the students are getting the right amount of ingredients and they're not overdoing it, because I know, the sugar can get a little bit done. Now, the thing with this is it's often quite good because it's 2 of everything. So that's easy for students to remember. And what we'll do is we'll sometimes write that down so that students also get that little bit of helpful instructions. Now you notice that all the ingredients have their own utensils, so we don't have any of that cross-contamination. And we put a pinch of cinnamon in there as well. So I've got my dry ingredients and I've just grabbed my butter, and I'm going to use a knife to roughly chop that up. And then that gets put into those ingredients. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use our hands, because I've been and washed my hands. Oh, did I do I did not. Oh my gosh, that is very remiss of me. So before you start your cooking lesson, you should make sure your hygiene is all sorted. So you need to make sure your hair is up. My hair is up. You need to make sure your apron is on, and I have my apron on. And you've been over and washed your hands in the sink. And what I get the students to do is I get them to sing happy birthday. Not really, but it's just funny because everyone thinks it's my birthday until they get used to me doing it. Now, what I'm doing here today is I am squeezing all of the dry ingredients together. I'm rubbing the butter and the ingredients I've collected to resemble breadcrumbs. Now, sometimes what students do is when they do this, they don't quite get that breadcrumb mixture. So come in, film person. And what they really need to do is they need to rub their hands across. It's no point just squeezing it. It doesn't actually do anything. So they collect and they rub the ingredients together. You've got to make sure that you get right down the bottom and get all those dry ingredients. That's actually looking pretty good. Now, it is an apple crumble. It is supposed to have a breadcrumb sort of appearance. Now I'm trying to get that off my fingers because I really want that in my cookies. And you don't need to overdo it. And then that will sit as a crumble on the sink. So once that is done, getting that off my fingers, and then I'm going to go wash my hands. Now, this is a skill some students don't have. This is your apple and this is your peeler, and you actually need to peel your apple. So we do demonstrate how to peel the apple. And I know that might seem a little bit strange, but some kids just don't know how to do it, and they do find it a bit of a challenge. So what we do to increase our challenge activity is we have a competition to see, come on over, who can get the longest apple peel. And it takes a moment.
Is this what? A new peeler. A new peeler.
An excuse.
No, it's brand new.
Oh, I lost concentration. Mine broke. Okay, well, we do have a bit of a competition with students to see who can get the longest apple peel. They hold it up and they show me and they walk around. And then once that's all done, that all goes into the food scrap container. Now, I have a horse at home, so my little horsey will get that. So the students think it's funny to give me their bits and pieces as well to take home to the horse. Okay, so we had our apple challenge, of which I lost. But the next thing is we want to start to cut our apples so that they go in a tray. Oh my gosh, my mouth just started watering. So you can see, come on in. You can see that I have put my apples so that they're on a flat surface, so they're not wobbly and I'm not cutting towards my hand. And then I'm going to slice my apples. Now, even though we demonstrate how to slice our apples, sometimes we get the chunkers. So they're the students that cut into big chunks and, you know, they learn by that. Get rid of that out of the way. Now this, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but this is actually an individual cooking. Oh, chunk. And you can see that I'm chopping on a green board. Good, good. Fingers are out of the way. Okay, so as technical as it all is, the alfoil trays are great to put all the apples in. Some students will spend time and they make it look all pretty. Now, it's starting to get a lot, but it will actually cook down. Squish it in. Oh, it's a lot, isn't it? They're bigger apples. I'm not going to put all that in. I'm going to eat some apples for morning tea. Then I'm going to grab a little bit of water. Now the water can just come straight out of the tap. Helps them cook. You don't want to drown it too much, but you want a little bit in there. And then the crumble, I might just take a couple more out, will sit on the top. Quick and easy, super tasty. Look at that. No need to pack it down. I'm just going to get rid of a few of those crumbs off the tray before that goes in the oven. Slide that back on. And our cooking goes into that. Our cooking goes into the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. Now again, we make sure, good save. You make sure the oven door is open so that it doesn't bounce back and knock your cookies off the tray. I've got quick hands. And you put your tray, I've lost it now, tray in and it sits landscape in the top of the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. And 5, 10, 15, and I'm going to write that time down because I'm going to go on to another thing. So I'll come back when they are ready. So my apple crumble that I saved is about to come out of the oven. So I'm going to use my oven mitt. I'm going to open the oven door completely. I'm going to grab my tray. Oh, that's a little bit golden, looking beautiful. And then that is going to sit on my cooling tray. I'm going to close the oven and turn that off. And there is our apple crumble done. So we often will provide the students with a fork or a spoon so they can eat that, and on a special occasion we have a couple of dobs of ice cream, so that's a special treat. So I hope you enjoy the apple crumble recipe.